Ahura Mas, the
chat for
plebs.
you. So thanks for the follow. And it looks like we're ready to go, guys. So we just saw these players already. Zerton beating Erie to take it to this finals of the losers bracket. He's playing the Persias in the south of Watering Hole. Of course, characterized by this hole of water in the middle of the map. And it's shallow water, so you can walk over this. You can also build walls on it, as well as docks and warships. So hopefully we'll see some of that. On the north side of the map we have Vindicator. Just got knocked down to the losers bracket by Carnage, but he's not out yet. He's making his final stand here against Zerton and hopefully take it to the grand finals, because the winner of this series, this best of 5, will advance to the finals. Riser's asking who is commentating. My name is Wout. So let's see what's going on. I think we have a special autumn team here. These deer look suspiciously snowy. So Zerton is going for a fast barracks. He's skipping his storehouse on wood, gathering from these trees next to his town center to go for a fast barracks. And interestingly, Vindicator is not going for a fast barracks. The Babylonian civilization has the fastest barracks in the game, like the fastest built together barracks. But instead he's going for stone, which indicates that he's going for a fast town center. So it will be up to Zerton to deal some damage. And I like this move by Vindicator. He's already building a cigarette, he's going up to H2. Because Watering Hole is quite a large map. It takes a while for all these Sparabara to cross the map. So by the time they would cross, Vindicator is already H2. That being said, Sparabara do have a lot of pierce armor. So only having a town center to defend may not be enough. And then what do you build against them? Do you go for a stables as the Babylonian, or do you go for a barracks, or maybe even an archery range? It will be interesting to see how this plays out. Vindicator is nicely using a scout to chip away at this back Sparabara, which is actually going to deal a lot of damage here. So it looks like these hunters are in the biggest danger. Put the graphics on high maybe. Yeah, I think I should do that. Hold on, guys. That's a lot better. So looks like Vindicator was trying to build the stables. Yeah, that actually looks a lot better. Thanks for letting me know. I was playing myself, and I always like to play on the low settings, just because the shadows kind of distract from the gameplay. So Vindicator going for stables. He's already got 300 stone. Doesn't have the wood though. He's not even close to having enough wood for the town center. It looks like he was kind of preparing to go for a quick town center, and then decided to go for the stables in the end. And oh, this villager is going to die. There's another villager down. Very nice micro there by Zerton, picking off the 2 low HP villagers. Just quickly check if I got every graphic setting in the game there. There may have been something at the bottom. No, we're good. Scout is still going. But that was some nice damage by Zerton. He's got a villager count. He has 19 against the 21 minus 4. So Zerton up 2 villagers. And he's actually building his town center earlier than Vindicator. So Vindicator's strategy on this map not quite working out the way he planned to, it seems. I like how Zerton is now mixing in Spearmen instead of Sparabara in response to the stables. We do have a Lancer out for Vindicator, scouting around. Zerton also going for stables. Zerton respecting his opponent, going for a tent. I think there were some low HP Sparabara that made it back to the base. Actually, I'm not sure where they are. Yeah, Vindicator has his town center up way later. So population blocked. So he's going to fall behind in the villager production by quite a bit actually. Yeah, it's actually down a lot of villagers. I think he was supply blocked there for quite a while. So there are some comments in the chat about whether the stream is randomly freezing. So what actually is going on is that Vindicator, his connection is not the best. He's from South Africa, so there's some lag in game for me as well, and also for the players, which is of course quite distracting for them. On the other hand, Vindicator is quite a good player, so he made it all the way to here, so not much we can do about it. Yeah, and if you can always lower the stream quality, there should be quality options available. Alright, Zerton adding another stables and an archery range. Looks like we'll be going for an H2 push. Better than going for lots of stables and H3. Vindicator built a dock, but will be spotted by these 3 Asabara. He also has a few lancers of his own to do some raiding. But Zerton's defenses are quite nice. This villager somehow survives. And looks like Vindicator may be going for that stable heavy play. He's got some gardens. He's actually going for H3 right now. So it looks like Zerton will be going for lots of H2 units, and Vindicator will be going for the classic Lancer mounted archer army combination. He's doing a nice job catching these Asabara. Both of these units are the same speed, but Zerton, he has A10s. He can just go back and place his Asabara near his storehouses, and they will get healed while he pushes with the rest of his force. So as you can see, getting healed up here. And this is a lot of spearmen, and I don't think Vindicator has any units to deal with this. He's making more stables. So the direct counter to this would be bowmen. Vindicator is just going for some towers and some lancers. Looks like these towers may not even get up. Just one tower on the right gets denied. The left one does get up. But these spearmen have to do such a large amount of damage to these lancers that you really do not want to fight them directly head on like this. So Vindicator dropping in population. Zerton is just sending more and more units. Look at how many units he has. Was Vindicator too greedy by going to H3? He's making some mounted archers right now, which will do nicely against the Asabara. But he lost a lot of villagers here. 44 villagers against the 52. So a strong lead here for Zerton. He's taking down the tower. It's up 40 population. I'm not sure if Vindicator will be able to defend here. Now Zerton is targeting the town center. There are 7 mounted archers out now. So Vindicator can do some kiting. It will take a while before this town center drops, but I'm not sure if he will be able to save it. Seems to be having a gold crisis right now because he was originally gathering from this gold mine where there once was a town center, which is now frantically being repaired, but no, he's not able to save it. And that hurts. It's now down 15 villagers. It looks like Zerton is going to make this a quick win, a quickie. Let's take a look at what he's doing. He's already getting his first armory upgrade. So very nice, going for Pierce armor to deal with this mounted archer army. I mean, the advantage of a faster army is that you can kite like this, like Vindicator is doing now. But it may be too little too late. Looks like Zerton's second armory choice will be Pierce attack. It's an interesting decision. Looks like Vindicator did get the resources for a town center again, and he's now making it in front of his base. But this force for Zerton is growing. He's now 50 population ahead. He's not stopping. His macro is on point, keeping his resources below 300 throughout this entire game. He's making sure his bowmen are hitting the mounted archers. And pushing Vindicator so far back that to the point that he's not able to kite back any further. Mounted archer. There's still 11 mounted archers alive. But not for long. Zerton even going H3 behind this himself. He's targeting down the ziggurat now. So some of his units are hitting the buildings now. Still a small army of 5 mounted archers trying to attack here. Zerton finds the town center, and I think he may decide to target this instead. I like how he's keeping his bowmen in the front, making it really hard for these mounted archers to kite. And Vindicator getting away with murder here, getting from this gold. He does have a little bit of gold left in his main base. But Zerton now H3, he got some gold for champion upgrade. Goes for Asabara champion, which is always a nice choice. It's just a constant stream of units for Zerton. He's really on top of his macro. He's making a watch post here, getting an eye on this right side. And he's going to be able to deny the gold for Vindicator soon. Yeah, once again I apologize for the lag in the game. It's due to the peer-to-peer connection. It's a long way from South Africa to Germany to the Netherlands, it appears. And I have to point out how well Zerton is macroing behind this. He has his third town center going up. He's getting lots of army upgrades. His fourth one now, to be specific. He's killing... Actually, there's another town center built here. But we're getting to the point of the game where Vindicator is only surviving because he has this gold. And also a classic Zerton move is to make these watch posts all over the map. With a villager even. So a hero villager. Now there's some wall BM. I mean, this is what you get if you don't resign the game when you lost, I would say. And I would say GG indeed. So Zerton kind of one-upping Carnage here. Carnage a few games ago against Vindicator, building a forward town center, very BM. Of course, riding with words in front of your opponent's base is arguably even more BM. So Vindicator tapping out there. So GG. So this means that Zerton has to change his civilization, but not before Vindicator picks the next map and he says his civilization first. Alright, let's take a quick look at these stats while the players make their decisions. First of all, of course, always the current villager population. It's the most important stat in the game. And we can see Zerton consistently ahead. Some slight hiccup at the start. I think Zerton 4 minutes into the game killed those 2 villagers and after that took the villager lead. So pretty short game, Zerton getting a few more attacks. Units killed very even. Of course, Vindicator had lots of 2-pop units, so it's looking in favor of Zerton. It's actually gathering quite a lot more. Just overall his macro was a lot better. Not much more to say. So taking the watering hole game. Vindicator picking the next map. He's going to pick Arabia. And he's going for Egypt. And in response to that, Zerton says, okay, then I want to play the Babylonians. So how's the sound, guys? Is everything okay? So Zerton looking very strong, looking like he may be the one to advance to the grand finals and face Carnage. So actually Zerton and Carnage already played this tournament, which was a very close series, which Carnage managed to close out by winning 2-1 at the end. So we may see a rematch from that. So I'm just giving the players a small break and we're getting ready for this next game. Especially Vindicator, we just played a series against Carnage and now has to play another series. And if he wins this, he has to play 3 in a row. And Groentje88, or should I say Groentje88, is asking if I'm Dutch. And yes, I am. I'm from the Green Hills of Holland. From Groningen. Are you Dutch or are you from Belgium? Thanks for the feedback on the sound. Looks like we're all set for this next game, where Vindicator is going for his Egypt. Immediately building a storehouse. Zerton is playing his Babylonians. He's deciding where to go for this hunt. There are some crocodiles there. It's a risk, but he is going for it. Actually, these crocodiles seem to be just out of range. So the advantage of a Babylonian civilization, you can still decide at the very start. You don't have to commit to going on berries or going on hunts, whereas Vindicator has to build a storehouse. He's going for picker's gloves, and Zerton going for the hunting dogs upgrade, which players don't always get. So nice pick there by Zerton. So Arabia, one of the biggest maps in the map pool. Players spawn on these cliffs, so it's usually a big boom fest. So we have some time to check out how the map spawn for both players. We have an opening on the right here for Vindicator, an opening in the middle, and a third big opening on the side. In terms of market placements, he could place a market here, but there are some annoying tree lines that will block the path of the caravans. On a certain side of the map, he has this one opening, a second opening, and a third very small opening on the side. I think he has a bit of a better spawn for a market on terms of this side of the map, but this tree line is pretty, it's a thick tree line to go through. We also have some goats on the map, so right now we're playing the battle for who can gather the most goats. So far I see Zerton has these 4. Vindicator found 2 of his own. Yeah, and both players are just going for a stone. This time around, no complete tree wall. We did have a tournament game earlier where the tree spawned completely around the base almost. So there's a bigger opening here. Vindicator scouting his opponent. confirms that Zerton is going for a fast town center. Zerton kind of having a bit of trouble with his villager production. Had an idle town center there for a little bit because he wanted to age up quite quickly. Actually, it looks like he only has the 3 villagers on food this whole time, which is an interesting approach. I think it would be a good idea to actually, that's exactly what he's doing right now, putting this 4th villager on food so you can afford hands up when you age up. Vindicator doing the same. He has enough stone for a town center. Let's see what would be a nice place to place it. Could defend this choke by placing it here. Some nice spots over here. In terms of Zerton's side of the map, he's only now scouting out this side of the map. This looks like a very interesting spot for the town center. But no, instead he's going for this nice 2-4-1. Town center fits in between the berry patch and the gold mine exactly, so that's pretty nice. Vindicator going for this spot, which, I mean, it does serve as a storehouse for these trees, but overall it's not the best placement, I would say. But keep in mind, these games tend to go to the late game on this map, and then it's important to have a good market line. So if you can work on chopping away this forest, maybe a good idea to start early on that. So far a very equal game. Zerton got his town center up a bit earlier, I think. But he also had a small food crisis earlier, so in terms of villager count they're completely equal. Priestess of Ra had the idea to maybe take these goats, but then decided that empowering this town center is a lot better. So nice play here by Vindicator, making that second priestess early on to empower the town center. So what happens is the villagers train 10% faster. So instead of 18 seconds, 16. Looks like Zerton is going the full greedy approach. Lots of gardens and barracks just to be safe. Did he scout stables? Well, I guess not, but I think he will now. It's either way a nice choice to blindly go for barracks, because Vindicator is looking to make some camels. And there, Zerton confirms that. I think he's just going for the 4 gardens, which is the limit for H2. Actually, there's one here as well. Look at this Vindicator going straight to H3. Very early. He's already getting some more stone, going for more stables. So how do you guys feel in the chat about going for a boomy game against Babylon? Because I think some players believe that you never want to go in a boom war against Babylon, because they will just outboom you with these gardens and with their crazy economy. So it looks like Vindicator is going for an army mix of camels and chariot archers. It's going to be interesting to see how early these players place their markets down. Zerton now going H3 as well, which will be, I think, researched a bit faster because of these gardens. Look at that already, 11.5% less training and research time. So the economy of Zerton is just going out of control. Wouldn't be surprised if he immediately adds more gardens, and of course he's going for another town center. Vindicator actually already H3, already building his town center. So Beef2K in the chat says that he thinks only Egypt can keep up with Babylon in a boom game on this map. And perhaps Persia with paid labor. So Zerton slightly creeping ahead in the villager count. His villagers are training at 14 seconds now due to these gardens. There's a big migration of villagers going on to build this third town center, I think. Or maybe not. Need some more wood. I think he wants to place it right here to chop away at this tree line over here. There we go. Pretty early market for Vindicator. An interesting position to place it here in front of this tree line rather than behind it. I think units could pass through here, but at the risk of your caravans getting stuck. I'm sure some of you remember the game where I played on in a tournament and my caravans all got stuck in a gap like this. Would not recommend that. So on the other hand, he will not get the maximum amount of gold trading from here to here, I think. But it will be pretty close because he placed his third town center in such a nice position. Meanwhile, Zerton almost has his town center up. He's just defending his base with some naked spearmen against these camel rage, which I should pay attention to. Oh wow, look at this gear on these chariots. It's the Tiki weapon combined with legendary gear. He actually got some more chariots over here. It's doing some damage, keeping Zerton inside of his base. Zerton now just making more military buildings. He's going to add 4 stables. He did add those gardens first, as I said. He's actually down in score a bit, but up 15 villagers, so I think the score here is kind of deceiving. Vindicator floating a little bit of wood, but it can't be due to that completely. It's just because Vindicator has some more units out on the field right now, but the economy for Zerton is in a much better place. Having more villagers, and of course also these 8 gardens who not only decrease the training and research time, but also provide 1 food per second. Yeah, Beef2K in the chat remembering the exact game where it was. Let's take a look at the economic upgrades from both players. Looks like Vindicator did not start his H3 economic upgrades yet. Zerton doing a bit better of a job there. So overall it's looking quite good for Zerton. He's making a huge army of mounted archers to break out of his base. The only thing that Vindicator is going for him now is that he's kind of keeping Zerton in this small area. And this gold is running out. So 8 chariot archers, some more here. Let's see how long Vindicator is able to keep Zerton here. There's already 11 mounted archers. It looks like Zerton is already able to go on these berries. Of course, the most important part will be a second gold. This gold almost run out. It looks like this market line for Vindicator is only getting 49 gold. We'll have to check back in a bit to see if these other caravans are also getting 49 gold. Sometimes the first trip is a bit different from the other trips. Oh, it's because he's sending them to this town center, I think. Alright, so small misplay there for Vindicator. Could get like 10-20 more gold sending it to here. Meanwhile, Zerton is breaking out of his small base. He's walling up. He's making a market of his own. Looks like Vindicator is going back to his own base. He's sitting at 79 villagers to the 102 for Zerton. Zerton already got his H3 economic upgrades. Vindicator is getting them now. Making some watch posts across the map. So Zerton, not very active with his units. He's just content to boom. He knows that the Babylonians are very good at that. And it's kind of on Vindicator to make something happen. Vindicator's got an army up. I think, yeah, here we go. Look at this Zerton, just adding so many more stables. He already has 10 after these get built. His army is mainly mounted archers. It's just really his whole force. Did not get Lancer Champion yet. If you compare the armor upgrades, Vindicator has a slight upgrade lead right now. Both players are starting to get maxed with an H3 population. With a cap of 180. And now Zerton is getting all these upgrades. Lancer Champion. Let's see if Vindicator can make something happen. Also important to note that this market line for Zerton is a lot better than the market line for Vindicator. So it looks like Zerton is sending all its units to defend against his army. Might catch the army for Vindicator. This is looking really bad for Vindicator. This raiding force getting completely caught out, trying to kill some villagers. Getting some value for these units, but the Lancer Champion upgrade now finished, so these Lancers are also charging. So I'm not getting anything done with these units, and it looks like they will all die. But he's quickly remaking them. He's working on his upgrades. Zerton in the meantime has a second armory. He's going for some upgrades as well. Look at all these techs that Zerton has in queue. Very nicely remembering to make iron wheels. Perhaps he would like to make some chariot archers, but I think he's mainly getting this for war chariots in H4. Zerton following Striker's advice to make at least 4 layers of walls on Arabia. So there's no way that Vindicator is getting through this small choke. Vindicator is now at 105 villagers of his own. It looks like Zerton either lost a few or deleted some to be at 94. I think Zerton is just going to go for H4. Can almost afford it. If he used the market a bit, he could buy and sell some resources to get it. So he's probably just adding some more stables. He's killing off some more villagers to make some more caravans. And there's a hole in this wall for Vindicator. Oh no! Luckily his army is here to defend, but 19 chariot archers, but there's no front line anymore for Vindicator, so these chariot archers are going to have to tank. Zerton just has... it's kind of hard to call. I think it's quite an equal fight here. But of course, if you have a better economy, it's nice to have an equal trade. So overall, I would say this is good for Zerton. I think he killed some villagers here as well. I mean, it's not as if Vindicator was lacking villagers. Sitting at 96. Looks like Vindicator will try and do the impossible and break through this wall on the left side. Actually, it's Vindicator who's gone to H4 earlier. Very unexpected. Did not notice he was building his Temple of Ptah, but he went to H4, but let's see what he's getting from H4. He's falling behind in armor upgrades now by a little bit. because he spent his resources on going to h4. This villager made its way all the way across the map, but looks like Zerton is just going to send units across the map. And I really like this this switch to mainly lancers, because he notices that Vindicator is going for mass chariots, and if there's no camels, then it's a lot better to make lots of lancers. Zerton now going to h4 as well. Vindicator getting this saddlebags upgrade, which will only slightly increase his gold. Looks like Zerton had the same idea, but an alligator killed this villager building this siege workshop. He's pushing in the middle with a large force. Both players maxed out. Vindicator actually getting siege tower champion for some more health and snare immunity on his siege towers. It's only 300 gold. He's got some more camel champion here, but he is down in upgrades a bit, and especially after this upgrade, some h4 upgrades in queue for Zerton. Horseshoes, very expensive upgrade, but very strong. So Zerton's market line only 91. After the upgrade he will get a bit more. Yeah, so Vindicator only getting 54, 52 after that upgrade. So not a big improvement. Could do a bit of better job trying to get the maximum distance for the market. Ever since the markets got nerfed, I think it's even more important to think carefully about how you place your markets. But Zerton is pushing in convincingly. He's also getting siege tower champion. So both players kind of mirroring each other here. There's 2 siege workshops up at least. Let's see what's going on here. Not much. But Zerton's force is doing really well. Just managed to kill the entire force for Vindicator almost, and now he's in the market line. Smart play by Vindicator, just pausing his caravans so that they don't run into the army of Zerton, but I think he lost most of his caravans there. He's now mixing in some elephants, losing some villagers, but quickly remaking them as well. Mixing some priests in his army. But overall, I think this force for Zerton is looking quite strong still. And also he has the better upgrades. Vindicator tried to rebuild the wall, but Zerton is just relentless. Making a fortress here now. Let's see if there's some siege towers out yet. Oh, here they are. Zerton now getting a mounted archer champion. And Vindicator falling apart a bit. He's down to 140 population against the 200 for Zerton. Caught off guard by these rams here. Looks like Zerton just targeted these houses. It only takes 2 shots of a siege tower. And here come 2 more siege towers from the top side, killing the fortress. So no more elephants. Vindicator does have this force of priests. Like every priest in the Egyptian arsenal is here. He's using some villagers to deal with these siege towers, but so many houses were down. He's kept it at 140 right now. 120 with this town center going down. And these siege towers are still alive. This champion upgrade is so strong. 990 HP on one siege tower. Looks like something is happening with these siege towers on the other side. They broke through the other wall, which is probably the better route to take rather than trying to go through the left side. Killing the market, but I think it's going to be too late for Vindicator. He's dropping to 70 villagers, but more importantly, he's lost his entire infrastructure, his markets. He's now building a market over here. Doesn't have many units left. He finally cleaned up the siege towers on the right side of the map. Got no gold. Was not able to kill the markets for Zerton even. Zerton has no idea that these siege workshops are here. There are some Priests of Tyre. Look at these converts going off. He's already got 3 Lancers and his Priest of Tyre is still alive, I think. 1 HP left. And now it dies as well. Looks like all hope is lost for Vindicator. But he is not a man to give up. And when someone does not give up, you can force him to give up by building a wonder. Looks like he may... He may be going for spamming the wonder sound. Which is next level BM. But I do think he has to step it up a little bit. I mean, players with 300 APM can spam the wonder sound a bit faster. Vindicator actually doing a favor here, killing the wonder. But what Zerton is really saying is, resign bro, resign, the game is over. So GG, well played by Vindicator. He started off quite nicely. But I think it all started going downhill when he lost all his units over here at the top. And he was constantly 1 step behind. He went H4 quite quickly, but didn't get much from that. Maybe would have been better off to get some more armory upgrades. Or try and fight in H3, rather than letting the Babylonian player boom. Zerton up 2-0. Putting Vindicator on match point. Right, so the rules say that Zerton now cannot play his Babylonians or his Persia. And Vindicator can pick whatever he wants, but he will have to pick the map first. So this is what happens if you try to boom against the Babylonians. You're always 1 step behind. And Zerton, of course, very solid macro. Using his units really well. Killing a lot more units than Vindicator actually. 41 techs. Yeah, he got a lot of techs. Let's check how much. He got all of the H4 armory upgrades. Very nice. Did not make any war chariots, which kind of a shame. But I like the siege tower champion play. Yeah, this is story of the game. 15,000 more resources gathered by Zerton. So let's see. Zerton up 2-0. Right, so the next map Vindicator can pick, and he decides to go for Sheltered Pass. And he can pick his civilization as well. Decides to go for the Celts. And in response to that, Zerton decides to pick his Greeks. So interesting pick there for Zerton. Feeling comfortable with the 2-0 lead. I wouldn't say Greeks are his best civilization. May even be his worst civilization. But we're seeing some nice civilization variety here. I mean, we've also had tournaments in the past where it was mainly Celts, Egypt and Persia. So good job to the balance team. And good job to the players. So let me invite my co-caster. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nice. I can, yeah.
And can you see the screen?
I can, yep.
Okay, that's
Very
very good.
nice.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, this is PF2K. He's one of the lead developers of the game. I'm sure most of you know him. Let me see if everything
Hello.
is in order. I think we are. So thanks for joining me. Would you be so
Thanks for
kind to do
having me.
the player introductions?
Yeah, sure. We have uh Zerton spawning as the Blue Greeks, and we have Verhoover on the other side playing as the Celts. Um, he is up 2-0 so far. Zerton now he's picking his Greeks. What do you think about Greeks versus Celts in the current meta?
I think it's always. I'm not sure about the current meta, but it's. I remember the meta used to be that it's probably best for Celts to go the range ball style for slingers and maybe even bowman ball. But I think you can also play with a lot of barracks against them. And for
Mm-hmm.
Greeks, I think the standard approach just to go for the 1-1-1. I think after the high pass pist got a bit stronger, we're seeing a bit more high pass pist heavy play.
Yeah,
But overall, the
I agree.
1-1-1 for Greek is just so strong.
Always a solid option. Yeah. I think Celts can really use their Wood Raiders in H3 to take advantage of the Greeks' immobility and avoid straight up fights. Oh, what's up with that?
Yeah, so Zerton in the chat saying his gold is kind of bad. And well, I
Okay.
can't blame him. His second gold seems to be this gold. Um,
Yeah.
it's the same for Vindicator.
Mm,
So,
yeah. Well.
so we're going for a restart. So every player has the right to call a restart once per game. And I think that was a valid restart call there.
Yep. I mean, it was both. I mean, bad for both players, but still, yeah, sure. Let's go again.
Turn you up a little bit. Just trying to find out how to up your volume again.
And I think it's when you right click on my name on Discord, or maybe not. Not sure in the like one-on-one call. Maybe we can go to a group chat, but let's do the player intros again. Hello, everybody. This is the third game of Vindicator versus Zerton. We have Zerton spawning as the Blue Geeks, and we have Vindicator spawning as the Red Celts. Both players going for their hunts already. So no extremely fast barracks shenanigans, though both players are gathering from their starting trees, so it's still faster than having two storehouses. Yep, there it is. Even using two villagers to make a barracks. Or,
Actually, he is. You kind of got fake keyed
yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
next level.
yeah, that one villager kind of got stuck there. And I would like to point out that very surprisingly, we are not playing on the Persian Valley terrain set.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah,
It must be a bug. I need to fix that.
seems
Yeah,
like every game we had so far was on the Persian Valley terrain set.
yeah, yeah, I know. It's odd. Yeah, Zerton's still not making a wood storehouse, using one villager to build his barracks. It's fine. Neither player getting hunting dogs just yet.
I'm not sure about this
That's
barracks placement. I mean, his villagers are kind of getting blocked by the barracks trying to return the
mm-hmm.
wood.
Yeah, but I mean it's super safe though, since there's no way Celt villagers can deny that before the TC just mows them down.
True. There's already a spearman out for Vindicator. So what do you think about Celts against Greeks?
I think Greeks just want to avoid having small skirmishes and being all over the map because they don't have access to healing as well as Celts do, and definitely no healing whatsoever in H2, whereas Celts do have their druids. So as Greeks, you really wanna just stay safe in your base, maybe expand just a little bit, and just get your powerhouse army going, and then force a straight up fight. Then you have a good chance. But if you let the Celt player just ravage your base with boat raiders, pull you left and right, and just split up your units, then that's not something you really want to do.
That's a good point you
Because
make about Greeks being pop efficient, and ideally you would like to take the fights when the populations are large. So for the
mm-hmm.
Celt player, it's kind of your job to pick apart the Greeks and try and find those small fights. And here we have one small fight with this first villager getting dangerously low, actually
Oh,
dying.
yeah, damn. Yeah, he does manage to fend off the spearmen though. But one villager did go down, and yeah, now he's running away with the spearmen. I think that was a quite a cost-effective trade for him.
Yeah, I think
And
the Celts are Vindicator's main civilization, right? So
I think so. Not sure, but I believe so. Yeah.
I thought about this before. What was Vindicator's old name again on the original game? Do you
Uh,
remember?
Not sure, but wasn't he like Mecha Mista and like
Right,
early
right.
days of Celeste? I think so. Not too sure, but I think that's what it was. Again, I'm not 200
Yeah, I
guys
think that's
on
correct.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Here he comes again with the spearman, but Zerton this time pulling away the villagers. He does have this uh, big wall of trees, and it makes for interesting yeah, interactions because, like, if he doesn't chop those trees, later on those caravans are gonna be passing through that choke line, and if Vindicator just finds his way around there and parks some woads there, he can just kill all those caravans that are passing by.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a bit scared here for this berry bush. This looks like villagers potentially getting stuck to me.
Yeah, you have PTSD from that, don't you?
I mean, whenever you have villagers trying to walk around the berry bush like this, oh,
Ooh, yeah. Uh oh.
we'll check back later. I mean, I remember when Zerton played against Carnage
Hotkey that
last
one.
week. Yeah, thin ice, bro, thin ice. Oh, yeah, there.
Is he stuck?
Yeah, it's actually
Damn. He
called it.
actually did get stuck. Yeah, that barracks could have probably been one tile away
Yeah,
from the berries, but that's
yeah.
the second TC by Zerton going up. He does protect that choke point with the TC. And looking back at Vindicator's base, how does he? I mean, how is he building up his base? Can we check? So yeah, that's a much better spot for a second TC for him. I mean, obviously, him being Celts against Greeks does give him the the comfort of knowing that he won't be attacked too soon, so he can just take whatever part of the map that he wants at this stage of the game. And here he is again with those spearmen just being, annoying. And it's good. I think you just want to be as active as possible with your Celt spearmen because they're just faster than other spears, and you just want to annoy your opponent with them. Is he gonna get that storehouse? You think?
It's probably not
Probably.
worth it to stand here and get hit by a pacifist. 1
And the
HP.
CC. Damn, literally 1 HP. Okay. Still no handsaw though. I just noticed.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Vindicator does have it.
Nice.
Looks like
Oh
both
yeah,
players
we got that.
just
Mhm.
killing storehouses of each other that are no longer used. I guess there were 2 deers here left on the right side, but
Right. Yeah.
catching these
Um.
spearmen.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the distance between these two TCs does make for a difficult defense if Vindicator lets Zerton be on the offensive, which is not really what you want to do in CVG. But let's see how it turns out.
I think this is a very good trade for Vindicator. He has
Mm-hmm.
lots of
Yep.
longswordsmen, anti-infantry against the spearmen. The high pacifists
Yeah.
for Zerton are just in his base. Villager count 27 against 25. So I think Zerton, he got
Okay.
his town center up a bit earlier. But he did lose that one
What
villager
about
at the
that stuck
start.
villager? What
It,
about that
uh,
stuck
it,
villager?
it was saved once this berry patch on the side got removed.
Okay.
But he was
Okay.
stuck for a good minute or so.
Yeah, I was about to say that the villager gathering time lost on that stock villager probably makes up for the number deficit for Vindicator for a while. But now he's making a. Is that a sacred grove that I just saw?
Yeah, he's
Nice.
now he's going for 2 archery ranges. And
Uh huh.
so it looks like he will be going for a slinger ball or maybe even faster H3. I think, speaking of the meta of Celts against Greek, I think the meta is kind of shifting towards faster H3 for Celts and more Woats, which of course I
Yep.
like.
Of course. Weary votes in the chat, please.
So while the Greek player is trying to mess up a large army, the Celt player just goes to H3 and maybe plays a bit more greedy and makes
Yeah.
Woats.
Yeah, but the thing about what you said is that for making woads you need barracks, but Vindicator does not have too many barracks. He has more archery ranges than barracks, so I would imagine if he goes for a fast H3, he would want to make more bowmen. But I'm not sure if you want to make too many bowmen against H2 Greeks with the Starisophoroi that's excellent at killing all sorts of range units. But that's a nice raiding group from Vindicator coming and killing that berry storehouse, denying Zerton from gathering from that berry patch. It's really nice, but he needs to get away before losing too many units. Otherwise, it's not a very cost-effective raid.
Yeah,
He
nice
does it
reaction
on
time by both players. But he did get
right.
that one storehouse and losing some valuable gathering time there. Takes a while to build the storehouse again. So that was
Yeah,
a
30
good play.
seconds right now. Mm-hmm. Another raiding group from the left. Let's see if he's going to take advantage of that natural choke point between the trees of Zerton on the left, and if he's going to maybe right click one of his slingers to that 1 HP storehouse. Nice double pronged attack from Vindicator. And this is exactly what you want to do with Celts. You just want to split apart the Greek player and not let him mass up this giant death ball and come and kill you on your base. So Vindicator playing really well here. He needs to be careful not to get sandwiched by the Greek forces here, but yeah, it doesn't look like he is. His left side is still open if he runs in time.
There's a druid going berserk here. Some units walked around the wrong way, I feel.
Mm,
Some nice
yeah, I
damage.
mean, uh, druids have some decent DPS. 15 DPS is no joke. If you make a druid mad, he's gonna stab you with a stick and you're gonna die.
So very nice from Zerton, leaving just enough units here on the right side.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right about the druid DPS. I mean, some people have tried just making lots of druids.
Yeah,
15
and they heal
DPS.
each other. they heal each other in combat, and they also boost each other's damage. So if you have lots of druid bros next to each other, they're just gonna heal each other, buff each other, stab you in the face. It's really good.
And importantly, very few units have bonus against Greeks, against priests.
Yep, none in H2 actually. So druids confirmed best fighting unit for H2 battles.
So PF2K changing the meta.
Mass druids, everybody.
It's the way to go, guys.
Just gonna mass druids.
So Vindicator has been up in population over Zerton for quite a while now. Just 10, but he has a larger army, but maybe overextending here. Looks like you were right, and he's going for this mass slinger ball. Zerton has.
Yeah, this is not a good fight for Zerton if the slingers. I mean, okay, that's one way to micro your slingers, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna say that you don't really want to take small army engagements with Greeks against Celts, but it was quite well handled by Zerton there, even reinforcing his main army with the backup army in the back. Now Vindicator is on the run, and yep, go ahead.
Yeah, this is gonna horrible for Vindicator. He's now down 20 population, running his army through the army of Zerton, and at the same time he wasn't able to macro back at home, so he found himself with a lot of resources and decided to go H3, which I think is a very risky move. What do you think about this H3 here?
Yeah, it is. I think he still only has only a couple of archery ranges, one Sacred Grove and a barracks in his base, or did they make more?
Let's see.
Yeah, this is really risky because he has only 4 production facilities and he just lost a big chunk of his army, and now he's making an armory and going H3. So if Zerton just realizes how greedy Vindicator is playing right now, he can just push in and do some serious damage.
So what do you think about Zerton not going for any stables?
That's one way of playing. Sorry, I just got lost in the chat for a second. Did you mean Zerton or Vindicator?
Zerton.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people just get Hypaspis and Tuxotes against Celts and no Saris to get this sort of like extremely anti-infantry composition. And their plan is to just like kill the front line of the Celt army, the longswordsmen, so fast that it just disappears, and then whatever's left of your army can deal with the slingers.
I'm kind of seeing a resemblance here with the Harjar Bowman army from Zerton's north. Seems to be an effective way to play against the Celts. Just go really heavy anti-infantry.
Yeah, I mean, as strong as slingers are, their health is not like too much. If you can just get your melee units fighting against them, like, you know, face to face, they will kill them. Some old faces in the chat, the Mista even in the chat. What's up?
The Mista saying, looks like the level of play went down since I left. Trolleucles in response, it actually went up, he would bash him 3-0. Yeah. We can do a show match after this.
Totally. You should stick around for the next series too, if you want to see high level play. But there's a 30C by Vindicator already. He will have extra villager production for a while. I can't really see the villager numbers.
Maybe it's 67 for Vindicator against the 65 for Zerton.
Okay.
Maybe Mista was right, because Zerton is only now getting his Hansa.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good indicator for sure. H3 before Hansa. That's new. But Vindicators really need to be careful with how he handles his army. This is not an army you can retreat with. You have druids in there. Your army is slow. It's only 6 speed. If you just want to run around the map, you don't bring your druids with you. You bring the 7 speed units. The slingers, spearmen, or longswordsmen. Or later on woods who have even more speed. But that's not really important here. The indicator doesn't have the next wood upgrade, but it's still better than not having Hansa, I guess. Zerton now catching up. Does he have an academy? I don't
Yeah,
see one.
he just built. Oh, it just got destroyed actually.
Oh,
I need to step up my game as
interesting.
well. Yeah, I saw him already get philosophy earlier, so his army upgrades are training a little bit faster, and he will be going to age 3 shortly. There is some nice raiding
Uh-huh.
going on. I guess on the minimap you can't really see it, the red units.
Yeah, it's getting a little harder. Yeah.
So Zerton going age 3 now, he does have that philosophy tech, so it's only 36 seconds.
Yeah, it's a beastly tech, that one. Philosophy is like having all the Babylonian royal gardens, 12 or not 12 actually, maybe 10 or 11 H4 Babylonian gardens for yourself in H2. So never underestimate that tech, guys. Get it ASAP.
So Vindicator actually looking quite strong. He's now up 15 population. I'm not sure what's going on with Zerton. Maybe there is some...
Check the upgrades. Armor upgrades do really show and score quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's a good
Okay,
point.
he does have 3 upgrades right now. Got the 4th one.
And there was a forward here. So he
Uh-huh.
only is getting his 3rd one right now. So slight upgrade lead for Zerton. He's down in population by a little bit.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I see Vindicator raiding with horsemen. Usually, when players get H3 with Celts against Greeks, you see lots of Woad raiders. But Vindicator went for the horsemen. I think that's not too bad because there's no anti-cav in the army of Zerton right now. And he does not have a stable for Prodromos, so he can only make Spearmen to directly counter the horsemen.
That's a good point. So it looks like Zerton's response to this Bowman Ball by Vindicator is to make a Bowman Ball of his own. He's got 50 Toxotes champion. There are some votes for Vindicator. He's doing some nice raiding. Let's see where these units are going. Killing some, I think it was a watch post.
Yeah, Zerton likes his watch post. Oh, look at this. Zerton forced to retreat here. Yeah, you don't really want to leave your Toxotes without a meat shield in front of them. Because as strong as Toxotes are, their main strength is when you have a big ball of them and they just, fire down on enemy units from the back without getting harmed. But once your Toxotes ball just dwindles in size, it suddenly gets much weaker than before. So goodbye Zerton to pull back and not lose all of his Toxotes there.
So do you think it would be a good idea for Zerton to make his stables? He is now transitioning into some hoplites, some peltists, which will
Hoplites
be
are
really
good.
nice.
Yeah, hoplites are good because they're good tank units and they do have that slight bonus against cav, and that's really enough. All you need against Celt horsemen if you don't have cav of your own. Because Celt horsemen are like this tanky unit that doesn't do too much damage but has high health, and the Greek hoplite kind of does the same but also has a slight bonus against cav. So when they fight together, hoplites do have a little bit of an advantage there.
Right.
But once again, Zerton wants to force big fights. You do not want to take small fights with Celts because they have access to healing, and any chip damage that you get on your units is there permanently while Celts heal back up. But I don't think Vindicator should stay here. He should probably kite back, but not fully commit, I think.
Does not have a gate yet on his wall, so needs to realize to make one
Oh no,
quickly.
there it is, yeah.
Quickly makes one,
Icon
but
skate.
loses some units while retreating. I feel like there's a part of his army.
He does have a lot of resources though, like an insane amount. Is that Ace 4? I don't think it is. The icons are a little blurred for me. Yeah, it's
No,
not.
he's not going to H4 quite yet. He does have a Bard Hull. He's getting some nice upgrades there.
That's super nice. I'm very happy to see that. Vindicator is already the winner in my heart.
I think Zerton is actually pretty close to H4 himself, but he does need to secure a gold, I feel. Let's see how he does have this market line now. This gold just ran out. Actually, he has a really nice market line. He's pushing in. Well, Vindicator wanted to make a fortress in the middle.
Ooh. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, Vindicator did do a really good job at securing the map, setting himself up with a market route, but this is an awkward spot, fighting in the middle of the map. Zerton's definitely going to be able to deny this fortress, but where's the army of Vindicator?
I feel like there's some army missing. I mean, he does have 100 villagers, so his army will be a bit small, and he is raiding Zerton's army, but I mean Zerton's base here.
Yeah, true, true. But he needs to be careful. You don't want to lose too many units to the point that you cannot defend your own base. He does need to have more production buildings, I believe, but he is making them now, so the longer this goes on, the better it is for Vindicator. So because he has so many resources stockpiled, and he is disrupting the economy of Zerton in his base. And those walls are really good for buying time. So one of the things that Greek struggles with is killing buildings, because most of their army's damage comes from pierce damage, and pierce damage is not very good against buildings, including walls. There he is.
So important to note here, Zerton does have an upgrade lead. He's up by 3 to 4 armory upgrades. And also Vindicator just used a nice right to build units quicker. So quickly getting maxed again.
Good.
If all these units train, he has a max population army again, but there's such a large ball of Toxotes.
Yeah, Tox balls are scary when they are really big, because of how much raw damage Toxotes put out. Just look at that, every volley just rains down hell, as the Spaniard would say. Rains down hell on the enemy units. But that TC is starting to get low. No repair, but I'm not sure if he can quite finish it off, unless he sacrifices quite a bit.
Looks like Vindicator has the syndrome that many players suffer from, that you cannot stop making villagers because it's in your system, and even when you're at 100 plus, you keep making more and more.
Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Steve would make 130 villagers. No. I mean, it's not bad if you just constantly trade. It's not too bad if you have like 130. If you're effectively fighting with 50 pop against 50 pop of your opponent every time, if you have 130 villagers, it's better for you in the end.
It depends on how you're trading. If you're trading against a large army.
Yeah, I mean, trading equally, of course. Yeah.
And Zerton is going H4 very rapidly with this
Yeah, look
academy
at that.
tag. I think he just never rebuilt his academy, but it's still working. No,
It's all that he
oh,
needed
there was
most
one
of
here.
the time. Okay, nice. Only Greek fire and murder hole is missing. He does have a Goge discipline and what's the other one again?
Philosophy?
Ashlar masonry. No, Ashlar
All right.
masonry. For
The
building
buildings.
HP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such good techs. Does
Just-
he have a siege workshop set up yet?
Yes, he has 2 siege workshops building in front of his base, so he's going for some ballista, but at the same time giving Vindicator some breathing room to max again and catch up in army upgrades. Also upgrade his market line.
Yeah, getting wooden roads even for his caravan, so.
He could go to
30%
H. Yeah, right. He could go to H4 as well. Does he have a fortress yet? I don't think he does.
No, he wanted to make one in the middle, but it died.
Right.
Yeah, so about the remaxing of Vindicator, look at that army. The majority of that army is in bowmen and ballistas. Once they come out, they nuke your ranged ball, and there it is. 3 ballistas, 1 almost already out. No gear. That's disappointing. Somebody donate some gear to Zerton's ballistas. Even only the legendary plate armor would do. He doesn't need the others. Just mail it at Zerton.
We can start a Zerton charity fund to get some gear from his units. I think it's a problem across all the civilizations. Even for the Norse, he seemed to have lost his gear that he was getting. And
Yeah.
2 ballistas, and all these bowmen are so clumped
Oh
together.
my. Yeah,
Ouch,
look at
ouch.
that graveyard. Yeah,
So
that's
ouch and a
what
half.
ballistas do. Yeah, big oof for the Bowman Ball of Vindicator right there. You really like the first two civilizations, the ones that have a secondary crush damage, ranged siege in H4 and ballistas or catapults. You really don't want to fight against them with your ranged ball because they just decimate through your ranged units. Like against Persia, it's not as bad with war wagons, but catapults and ballistas are just, yeah, big oof.
And Zerton got all kinds of champion upgrades. He has Hoplite champion, he also has Hippocon champion, so there's some Hippocons crossing the map now.
Oh,
He's
nice.
getting some H4 upgrades, and it looks like Vindicator is setting up for a Wout Raider flank. So
That can be good. That can be good.
could be good,
Did he
please.
kill the wall? Did he kill the wall to the right because he was stuck behind the wall?
Yeah,
Okay, he did. Okay, nice.
so
He
this
does
is
have his third upgrade for himself. But that boat flank, is it too late? I mean,
I think it's coming at the wrong time when all of the units in the front have died.
yeah.
And the timing is terrible, he has to run back.
No, yeah, that look at just how few, I mean, how much damage only a few ballistas can do when your army is mainly composed of ranged units.
And Zerton is just
And
getting every tech. I think at this point he's just trying to get as many
he
techs as he
even
can
got
for the post game stats.
he even got murder hole
Yeah,
and a stronghold tower. He does have upgraded towers in his base. That's very nice. He just needs to get Greek fire so his Tuxotes have fiery arrows for, extra visual bonuses. He's only missing. Oh, actually, that's not a stronghold tower. That's a fortified tower. My bad. I mixed up the order. But yeah, the Greek army just hammering down the base of Vindicator. And, this ragtag group of Celtic soldiers was not going to be able to stop that Greek army. He needs to pull back, get a good army, set up a good boat flank, maybe, if he wants to have any chance.
and in the meantime, Vindicator did get Carpentum champion. Troluricles
That's
in the
very
chat
good.
saying he would have preferred Wout Raider champion against Greeks. What do you think about that?
Yeah, totally. Totally here. I mean, boats are already good at killing ranged units, right? So when you have boats charging at the opponent's ranged ball with a splash damage attack, and when they overlap these splash attacks, they just like completely decimate the ranged ball. But that didn't happen. And Carpentome champion is almost always good, but I'm not so sure about using Carpentomes as the only unit that you have against this sort of army without microing it, because Hippicons and Hoplites just laugh. But look at this, the big Celtic army coming from the back, surprising Zerton there, and some wards from the other side attacking the Tuxotes. Let's see how this turns out. Yeah, the armory upgrades for Zerton
Yeah,
just being too strong
I
here.
think it's mainly the army upgrades here, and also, of course also the Greek army just being really strong. Vindicator built his armory up front and got
He
taken
lost
down,
it, yeah.
and
Yeah,
he
there's a
taps out.
GG. Nicely done by Zerton, not taking too much damage from the Celtic raids. And getting exactly what I was talking about earlier, getting this big army and then forcing a straight up fight where the Greek army has an advantage over the Celtic one and just not relenting from there
Ahura
on.
Mazda, bless.
Also the ballista transition, which just absolutely crushed the Bowman Ball of Vindicator.
But I mean, on the other hand, it's respectable for Vindicator to have a 28-minute game against someone like Zerton. So
Totally.
Vindicator getting knocked out of the tournament here in this losers bracket final, but very respectable third place in the tournament.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yep, he gets the copper medal, which I will send to him in time.
perfect. Let's take a quick look at these game stats. So pretty neck to neck at the very start. in terms of villager count, and Vindicator actually pulling ahead near the end. So he was never really behind in villagers. So it was just mainly about the units. I feel if you take a look at the units killed and lost, Zerton almost killed twice as many units as Vindicator. So what do you think? Why did Vindicator lose this game?
I think he lost too many units at the front of Zerton's base when he was H3. He just trickled in too many units and let Zerton take favorable trades, and then he just built up his big army and then came to Vindicator's base. So really, you don't want to let Greek be on the offensive. Like if you look at that graph, he was fine for most of the early and mid game, but then when he lost that Bowman ball and next to the town center of Zerton, from then on Zerton was on the offensive, and he started coming to Vindicator's base. And since Vindicator had forward built so many of his production, houses, a TC, armory, you can see it on the ground right now. It's all remnants of the buildings that were built there. Only that last house being half dead. Yeah, almost dead. So all of that, brown ground was Vindicator's infrastructure, and he lost that, and he couldn't reinforce in time. And of course, Zerton having access to philosophy, just getting all the armory techs and just smashing in armies and winning easily.
Yeah, exactly. I think overall very nice Greek play by Zerton.
For
Very
sure.
patiently waiting until he has a nice advantage, waiting for ballistas. I think it's no coincidence that when you play Greek, that the Mista appears in the chat.
That's the secret recipe for summoning the Mista. Be ahead 2-0, then pick pick Greeks as the last civ. And then suddenly he comes in and says aloha.
So 48 tags he ended up
I
with.
think Greek has a couple more. Did he get murder holes? You can click on his academy to see if he had murder holes. Oh, he did not have stronghold tower, so he's missing that one. He probably didn't have ram champion either. Oh, he did get murder holes. Nice. No spearman champion. Spearman. Oh, he's missing so many techs right now. I'm disappointed. But kudos to Vindicator for two things. Using Bard Hall techs and getting the PvP exclusive wall tech for the Celts. So well done.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about this upcoming game?
Who isn't excited for that? I think everybody's watching the stream is looking forward to the next series, and Carnage being a favorite in this tournament. I think people will be interested to see how it goes. Let me quickly check the brackets. So here we have, let's see, we're gonna have Carnage versus Zerton. So that's the classic Who's the German Sensation series.
Exactly. Just quickly get these screens all
Yeah,